Do you get annoyed when people say to you, be sure you're taking care of you? It sounds great, but as rare disease mamas, we don't have the time or energy to do what people think of as self-care. I mean, spa days and vacations are nice, but who's gonna watch my kid? Am I right? When I practice realistic for a rare mama types of self-care, I'm a better version of myself. Stronger, more energized, and motivated to be a good mom. I'm gonna dish my secrets around how I fit in self-care. Practical ideas you can use in your own life to take better care of you. Plus, I'm gonna share my best tips for exhausted mamas because I've been there. Hey, I'm Chardell, a registered dietitian nutritionist and cheerleader for mamas who have a child with a disability or rare disease who want to take better care of themselves so they can take better care of their child. If you're a rare mama or a mama to a disabled child and you want to lose weight and get healthy, be sure to grab my Rare Mama's Guide to Weight Loss and Daily Checklist. I'll link it up above and down below. To fit in self-care, it is important to define self-care for you. Self-care for you is going to look different than it does for your friend who doesn't have a child with a rare disease or disability. It just will, and that's okay. You need to figure out what makes you feel supported and cared for. I'm going to offer some suggestions, but ultimately it's up to you to decide what self-care looks like for you. And obviously, I'm going to say good nutrition is the first way I suggest you practice self-care. I mean, I am a dietitian after all. No more eating leftovers off your child's plate. No, that is not self-care. And you deserve better. Feeding your body foods that make it feel good and are satisfying and give you good fuel, that is self-care. You're eating every day. You might as well use it as a chance to show yourself a little love and choose food that makes you feel good. Here are some other things you can explore. Movement. What do you like to do? What sounds fun? What did you enjoy doing as a kid or a teenager that you could revisit? What could you do with your child or with your pet? One of my clients takes her dog for a walk, but she turned it into self-care by putting in her headphones and playing her favorite music while they're out for their walk. She feels cared for because she's doing something that she really enjoys, and when she gets home, she feels recharged. Boundaries. Do you set them? Would you feel better cared for if you did? What's a boundary that is constantly being pushed that you could change? I had a client who was working through her lunch hour every day. She was eating as fast as possible and not paying attention to what she was eating, how it made her feel when she was full, because she had so much pressure from her boss to just keep working. Setting a boundary that she was taking a lunch break, not working, and tuning into her body as she ate helped her to feel cared for. Doing something that's just for you. How can you nurture your talents and desires? Can you take a virtual class or a digital course or join a book club? You know they have virtual ones. Or get your nails done, or your hair done, or watch a movie that is not in your child's regular rotation. If getting childcare is an obstacle, see if you can fit these things in at a time when your child is either at school or at therapy. For example, I've read books while Ben is doing his half-an-hour horse riding therapy session. I read part of a book during that time, or we listen to the book as we drive to the therapy appointments, and then I attend the actual book club at night when he's in bed. It helps that I was on the planning committee and suggested the time and place. Side note, you can set up a group for something you like to do. Don't wait for someone else to do it. Set up what you'd like. You get to set the parameters and then invite your favorite people to join in. These are just some suggestions and starting points for you. What fits your definition of self-care? Let me know in the comments and go ahead and read the other comments to see what's working for other mamas like you. Now, on to my best tips for how I fit in self-care even when I'm exhausted. First, I set up self-care as an appointment to myself and put it in my calendar the way I would a doctor appointment, as a priority. This is not selfish. Let's say your plan for self-care is taking a nap. Because if part of your child's rare disease is sleep disturbances, then that affects you in a big way. Believe me, I know. So if taking a nap would make you feel better cared for and supported, make it happen. Put it in your calendar. Call someone to come and help with your child, then put your phone on Do Not Disturb and take a nap. If you don't make it a priority, there will be other things that take up your time. And pretty soon, the nap gets pushed and pushed until there is no chance for a nap. Now, you're more exhausted. When you're exhausted, the best way to recharge is to take care of you. When Ben was little and didn't go to school, I was super tired. And I would call friends, or I even hired someone to come over to the house and be with Ben for an hour or two so that I could take a nap and know that he was well cared for. There is nothing wrong with that. I want to know, have you ever planned a nap? Hired someone to come and be with your child so you could take a nap? How about the weekend trip alone to a hotel so you can sleep? Speaking from experience on that one. Another way I fit in self-care, even when I'm exhausted, is to make the activity something that I enjoy. The idea of blocking out everything else and focusing on yourself and just being alone with your thoughts seems like paradise. I think of Helen Hunt and that campaign that she makes up in What Do Women Want, where it's like, it's just you and the pavement. So dreamy, but I don't like running. Forcing myself to run would not be considered self-care. Instead, I choose to practice yoga. I get the same benefit of focusing on my body, being alone with my thoughts, and it's just me and the mat. Bonus points because I can change what I'm doing based on the energy that I have. I can do it in the same room as Ben, so if he needs to be supervised, I can be with him, and I can do it any time of the day. And because it's something I love to do, I find the time and the motivation to do that activity is not that hard to muster. What can you do that will give you a moment to yourself? To focus on you and just be alone with your thoughts. What's something you enjoy? Baking, driving, praying, hand washing syringes. Just teasing. Although it can be meditative. Another thing that's important, this is how I fit in self-care even when I'm exhausted, is to be flexible. You know what it's like to have this day with a project you want to work on and you think you have the whole day to work on it, and then you get a call from the school nurse telling you to come and pick up your child. Yeah. As rare disease mamas, we are masters at being flexible. So just take that skill and translate it into fitting in your self-care. For example, if you really enjoy reading but find that you can't read a physical book without being interrupted, try audiobooks. On your headphones, plug them in, and you can have someone read to you while you're folding laundry, making dinner, or supervising your child. If you want a spa day, but the time commitment and the money that it requires seems like too much, try a spa day at home or even just a mini treatment at home. My daughter made me these under eye tea bags and she prepared them while I was still working. And then she knocked on my door, letting me know that my treatment was ready. She got me cozy in bed, put the cotton pads underneath my eyes, set a timer for 10 minutes, and told me to relax. It was wonderful. And it didn't cost hundreds of dollars, and I didn't have to go to the spa, and yet I still felt pampered. Over on Instagram, I regularly share ways that I fit in self-care, so be sure to follow me over there at Chardell Buchanan Nutrition. Another way I fit in self-care is by being an advocate for Benjamin and others with his rare disease. Now, I know I could have included this earlier when we were talking about defining what self-care looks like for you, but I'm not sure how many people would call advocacy for your child self-care. Because this one thing has made such a difference for me, I thought it deserved its own spot on the stage. Being involved in Ben's Syndromes Foundation, connecting with other parents who have a child with his same syndrome, advocating on his behalf for services and accessibility are all ways that I have felt cared for and supported. Listen, being the parent of a child with a rare disease can feel very isolating. It can feel like no one understands our unique situation and challenges. But getting involved has helped me to feel seen, cared for, supported, and it has been a great way to do some self-care. When you're trying to fit in self-care and you're exhausted, remember, you don't have to fit in all of these things. You get to decide what self-care looks like for you. Looking at your nutrition, movement, boundaries, and things that you just enjoy doing, that's all just a starting point. And you certainly don't need to do all of those things every day. Can you imagine waking up at like 3 a.m. to fit everything in? You'd be even more exhausted than you are now. But blocking off 30 minutes in your calendar to get involved with some advocacy for your child, that could be something that you do once a month. Choose something you love and be flexible with how you fit it in. If you want to get started on self-care through better nutrition, I dive deeper into how to add in foods that make you feel good and keep you satisfied in my meal planning guide. This is a free download. I've linked it down below, so definitely grab it if you haven't yet. Be sure to subscribe so you know when my next video comes out. And if this was helpful for you, it would be super helpful for me if you would let me know and give it a like.